unexplained donation from government contractor Lawrence Lubiano in 2022. The former Senate President brands the complaint as political retribution. Let's get on point with the private lawyer who filed the complaint, Attorney Marvin Aceron. Attorney Aceron, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for your time.
Hi, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, Attorney, when exactly did you file this ethics complaint against Senator Cheese Escudero?
I filed it yesterday afternoon around 3 o'clock
I see.
before the Senate comes up.
And how long have you been contemplating on doing this?
I started working on this sometime 4 or 5 days ago. I wanted to file this today, Friday, except that I learned from the Senate staff that they are closed on Friday, so I had to make it faster and file it on Thursday, which was yesterday.
I see. What pushed you to file this complaint, sir?
Well, I'm a lawyer. I sue people for a living. And then I'm so angry with what happened with this DPWH blood control measure. And I wanted to channel my energies towards something productive. So I heard about this thing about the 30 billion peso donation. And I said, so the defense here is that the money is not corporate money, but personal money. But as a lawyer, I have an instinct. So I said, let's take a look at the financial statements of this company. So I got the financial statement, I got the GIS, I learned Lubiano has 99.33% ownership of the company. I looked at the financial statement, I checked the balance endings of the retained earnings, and I noticed there's a 35 million gap in the year 2022. So I said, I might have something here. That's why I said, let's file this. Let's see what happens.
Can you, Attorney, please hold on that. Tell us more about what exactly you said. So, I'm sorry, I didn't quite get it. Sabi niyo po, you looked at its GIS.
I looked at the GIS. I noticed that Lubiano has been 99.32% owner of this company. He practically is the company, except for about 0.66.
Right.
0.67. That's number one. Then, I looked at the financial statements. I noticed that in the year 2022, there is a 35 million peso gap between the retained earnings declared in 2022, 2023, and 2024. Kasi in 2022, retained earnings he restated 3 times. In 2022, he said the retained earnings is 315 million. And then, the year after, he said, the company said, the retained earnings is only 280. There's a missing 35 million. And they did not explain where did it go, what dividends, a correction error, but there is no disclosure. So I said, I might have something.
I see. Okay, now I get it. Minainos niyo po, and it seems that this 30 million could have come from that and not his personal earnings, but rather the company's. That's basically what you're saying.
Well, you cannot really say that that's the same money. What I'm saying is this company has all these billions of contracts after the donation was made. Originally, 720 million lang yung kontrata mo sa gobyerno. After that, it became something, they were given up to 15.6 billion pesos after the donation. So there's something suspicious there. What's going on? And then I noticed that look at the financial statement. There's no explanation where the 35 billion pesos went in the company's books. So, you put two and two together, we might have an inference. But that's why I want an investigation. Either way, Senator Escudero has the duty to be diligent about these donations. 30 million is a big amount of money. That comes from somebody who has so much contracts in the DPWH. Dapat hindi na ganyan basta tanggap-tanggap. That's unbelievable, Senator. Especially so that this company has received billions of pesos in contracts. In personal diba? That's not questionable.
That Section 95 of the Omnibus Election Code, this is something that I've discussed in the past. We're going to put that up on screen. This is supposed to be the violation. But Attorney, I hope you can help me out here. When this was originally being discussed, kasi nga, ito yung dapat prohibited contributions. One way that I was told about how to appreciate or understand this Section 95 of the Omnibus Election Code is that the liability is coming from the donor. Si Lawrence Lubiano po. At hindi yung tumanggap na si Senator Cheese Escudero. What do you say to that?
Well, that's it's a very simplistic way to appreciate the law. It doesn't say in the law that only the donor is liable. Where did that interpretation come from? Who's that? It says prohibited. If it's prohibited, it cannot be done. And whenever there's a donation, there's always a donor and a donee.
Yeah.
And it doesn't say here that the donee is not liable. So both are liable, unless they can show me a decision by the Supreme Court saying the donee is not liable. I need to see that decision. I haven't seen it. It's not there.
Yeah, unless there's a decision by the Supreme Court na ang talagang naging guilty lang dito ay yung nag-donate at hindi yung tumanggap. Quick question.
Yes.
I wonder if you heard the privileged speech of Senator Cheese Escudero recently.
Well, I didn't have time to do it, but I have a gist. More than I know the summary of it.
Okay. Pero alam naman po natin that he admitted to this, the 30 million pesos, Lawrence Lubiano. Even Lawrence Lubiano was questioned by Congressman Shell Diokno during the House hearing. I think that was the first House hearing. But during the speech of, the privileged speech of Senator Cheese Escudero, I do recall him saying na, parang to the effect na, bakit ako lang? Bakit sa akin lang? Because there are reports, I think it's a PCIJ report, also showing other politicians actually receiving money from contractors themselves. It includes the President, the Vice President, and some other senators. Meron mo ba kayong planong dagdagan ang pag-file ng ethics complaint laban to at least two other senators or even House members?
So, that response na bakit ako lang, that begs the question. Bakit ako lang? Bakit ako lang dinidimanda? Gusto ko magdamay, parang lang gusto niya gawin. But that already admits guilt. And that's the issue here. As a senator, are you supposed to be taking this amount of money from people who are given contracts by this government? Second, with respect to the others, if there is strong evidence and there are more people who will help me out, I will file the paper. Because really, the issue here is the system is all messed up. We have to fix it. We cannot do this every year. We cannot have an election that people getting all these contracts after election.
The reaction, I'd like to put in the reaction of Senator Cheese Escudero to this ethics complaint that you filed. Basically, he said na hindi na niya ito ikinagulat. Ito daw ang kabayaran sa pagbanggit ko sa pangalan ni Martin Romualdez at sa pagbubunyag sa katotohanan. This is just part of the harassment from his minions. Care to react, Attorney Aceron?
Well, I don't want to engage and dignify that kind of statement from the former Senate President who praised himself by saying he took the bar only once. I took time, I studied the evidence. I have a pile of evidence here. I have the GIS, I studied the audited financial statements. It took time and expertise to understand this. And all he has is a Facebook post. Am I going to dignify that? He will have a chance to present himself before the Ethics Committee. I am looking forward to his answer, his proper answer, the proper answer of a senator, of a lawyer. And I would like to hear from the accountant what happened here. Where is 35 million missing in your audited financial statement? That's what I want to know.
Actually earlier you said that, it was missing. Where could it have gone? There was no explanation to this 35 million pesos. Ano po? You said it could have been dividends, etc. Are you expecting that kind of answer from their auditing team?
Well, they might say dividends, they might pay salaries. Although imposible salaries kasi nakita ko yung salaries at 5 million, 6 million, 15 million in 3 years. So it's not salaries. But what I'm gonna expect for them to say is, nagkamali kami. And when they say nagkamali kami, already you have a question, you have doubts on these financial statements. These financial statements were used for the biddings of all these contracts in the DPWH. They are mali-mali. Why are we doing this to this country? You guys got 15.6 billion in contracts and you submitted financial statements that are mali-mali. Can you expect that from a corporation which has that amount of contracts with the DPWH? Bakit naman? This should not happen again.
This will be heard by the Ethics Committee. I believe this will be headed by Senator J.V. Ejercito. Nagkaroon po kasi ng bigodon with chairmanship, Attorney. What is the process that you expect? And ito ho ba yung, is this the kind of procedure wherein you will also be called as the complainant?
Well, ang understanding ko is this is it's not really a judicial proceeding, but a quasi-judicial proceeding, which means they will hear me out, they will ask me for my evidence, they will ask questions on me, and then they will ask for the answer from Senator Escudero, and then the committee will make a report. And then the report will be submitted to the plenary. And the plenary needs 2/3 vote to expel Mr. Escudero. And then we will see. After the Senate votes on it, I may have a remedy to the Supreme Court. But I expect at the very least that the Senate Ethics Committee will ask Mr. Escudero to shed light on what happened in this donation, what happened with this company, which got so much contract with the WH, what happened with that donation. And then the accountant to say what happened with the 35 million. At the very least, I want to hear them.
We'll wait for the reaction and the initiative that the Ethics Committee Chairman will be taking regarding this complaint that you filed. Attorney Marvin Aceron, sir, thank you so much for your time.
Salamat. Maraming salamat. Thank you.
That's On Point. Join us again on Monday, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.